Khan Shalom Akyam. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Give honors to the other apostles of great Millstone who teach and rule well, and Shalom to the sincere Akyam, spreading truth and sincerity. Shalom. This video I want to talk about this article that came out yesterday concerning America doing something. Meanwhile, the whole world is focused on what's happening between Russia and Ukraine. A couple of weeks ago, I told a brother, hey, you gotta watch out for what they don't want you to focus on. Meanwhile, everybody's focused on what's going on the grand scheme. And then, a couple of weeks later, I reminded him like, hey, Ak, you remember when I told you this? He said, yeah, man, I remember you saying that. So, eventually, this comes out. So now we understand that things are going on, you know, um, basically on a low. Meanwhile, the earth is focused on, the major things going on upon this earth. You see, the things they don't want you to really know about or focus on or be occupied with. They do that while the whole earth is distracted. Because as we're going to read in this article, the steps that are being taken by America is one step closer to the RFID chip, which is the mark of the beast spoken about in Revelation, the 13th chapter. You see. So, just gonna go into the article, gonna grab a couple of scriptures, a couple of meaning of some words, and then we're gonna close it up. So it says, while the world is focused on Russia and Ukraine, Biden just took a huge step toward government-backed digital currency with executive order. So like I mentioned, while the whole world is focused on what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, which is a major distraction, for things that are going on upon the earth right now, people are occupied with how they're gonna, acquire, oil, gasoline, the diesel, the price is gonna rise. People are busy with, the fact that grain is going to be more expensive and it's going to be harder to acquire for these countries. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, America is pushing this digital currency. This is about to be I say that the steps are being taken for it to be developed. So it says a U.S. digital currency could be on the horizon. The Biden administration is putting its support behind the research and development of a United States central bank digital currency, or CBDC. The move is part of a sweeping executive order President Joe Biden signed Wednesday, instructing the federal government to explore possible uses of and regulations for digital assets like cryptocurrencies. My administration places the highest urgency on research and development efforts into the potential design and deployment option of a United States CBDC, the executive order reads. And the executive order is says in the United States, an executive order is a directive by the President of the United States that manages operations of the federal government. Directive is an executive action. It is written or oral instruction or declaration issued by the President of the United States, which may draw upon the power vested in the President by the U.S. Constitution's statutory law, or in certain cases, congressional or judicial acquiescence. So he's basically using his presidential power to make sure that this research and development is actually going to be undertaken, for the United States government. The legal or constitutional basis for executive orders has multiple sources. Article 2 of the United States Constitution gives presidents broad executive and enforcement authority to use their discretion to determine how to enforce the law or to otherwise manage the resources and staff of the executive branch. The ability to make such orders is also based on expressed and implied act of Congress that delegates to the president some degree of discretionary power. He's using his presidential power to establish this. It says the order asks for a wide variety of agencies to begin research and submit reports on a variety of issues surrounding digital currencies, from design and security to the financial and societal impacts. We know the implications of potentially issuing a digital dollar are profound. They are extraordinarily wide-ranging, a senior administration official told reporters on a call Tuesday. Although a United States digital currency would not necessarily change much in terms of everyday experiences like buying goods and services, economists say it could transform central and commercial banking as well as government sanctions, banking accessibility, and taxes. And one thing that um, that we can take as an example, one country is China, who has a social credit score system. And it says China's social credit score, economic genius or killer of an open society. Um, It says I'm trying to book a Eurostar holiday and I get told on their side that I can't travel on Eurostar because I missed my credit card payment last week. Imagine a world where that could be true. Because once you go to cryptocurrencies, everything's going to be able to be backtracked. You know, everything that you do is going to be looked out for. You're gonna know everything about you, man. It's not going to be able for you to basically work on your hand. You know, trying to help, fix up a person that you know, and then just he just gives you a little bit of money, without tax deduction. No, man, everything's going to be tracked. Because once they really institute um, this cryptocurrency with the set system that's being rolled out as we speak, slowly but surely, the actual money that we use, the paper, the coins, you know, everything's going to be done away with. So everything's going to be digital. It says I walk into a Starbucks and I get a free drink because my mortgage payment was done on time. Thanks to my direct debit, I could go on, but you get the idea. China is working on a social credit scoring system that could pretty much make life look like what I've described. For me, it's too intrusive. But in a world within China where Google has a single digit market share, thanks to censorship, nothing is intrusive looks like. So what China is basically working on and already has established is a system in which the way that you behave in society affects your freedom within society, you know, and that's because everything is going to be able to be backtracked. They're able to know every step that you take. Not only in the fact that they have cameras everywhere and they're able to uh, scan um, your posture, your facial expression, etc., to determine who it is. But also the money is being tracked. You know, it says the Chinese government claims that it needs a system to promote social and economic trust and plans to launch the system by 2020. No wonder China tops the world in AI patents. They are already piloting the system in several Chinese cities. See, this is eventually where it's gonna go to. You know, society in which you're going to work with such a in such a manner, and the cryptocurrency is a part of that, because how much more do you want everything to be digital, everything to be able to be controlled? Because actual money cannot be controlled. You know, there are articles out there where millions of dollars or millions of euros or whatever is being found stashed under someone's house, his basement or whatever. You know, how did they get there? Nobody knows except for the people who put it there. But once everything goes digital, with these digital currencies, however it's going to look like in their uh, in their end stage, everything is going to be able to be um, tracked. And the only way for you to be able to partake of said society is, if you're going to take that RFID microchip. You know, and the ones that don't take it are going to be excluded from such a society. So everything's being prepared, rolled out, for the Earth to receive that RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast. It says, I'm going to read this one again. The potential here is enormous and is very interesting, said David Yerma, a professor and the chair of the finance department at New York University. The executive order will call on the government to investigate the technical needs for digital currency and advocate for the Federal Reserve to continue its research and development, according to a fact sheet released by the White House. The Fed published a white paper in January about potentially creating a CBDC that would complement existing payment systems. It found that the CBDC could make payments cheaper and easier for consumers, but might also pose a risk to the stability of the United States financial system. So at the moment, they're so-called, looking at the pros and the cons. But we understand through the spirit of Yahawashi that they're gonna opt for these digital currencies, or something that is um, directly going to be used with the RFID microchip. So the way that their financial system is going to be set up is all around the RFID microchip, which is a digital um, radio frequency identification. Um, what is it? A radio frequency identification ID identification. You see. So I want to go into the evolution of money because with the fourth industrial revolution, right around the corner, you understand that money has also made some evolution along the way. And back in the ancient times, the majority of the wealth of a man was determined by the amount of cattle he had and the amount of precious metals, so such as gold and silver, etc. You see an example of this is our forefather Abraham. And along the way, these um, coins, instead of them being silver or gold, they were melted with different kind of metals. The value stayed the same, but the intrinsic value, which is the actual amount of value that the coin itself has, concerning the value of the silver used in it, and the value of the other metals that are being used in it, was way less than the accepted amount that coin was worth. And eventually, we received the metal coins, which were not even made out of gold or silver, but were made out of other metals, which the amount printed or stamped on a coin had a way less value than um, the accepted value by society. And for instance, a 2 euro coin would never be worth 2 actual euros. You see, same for the paper money. The paper money, which is 500 euro on it, or 200 euro, that paper itself is not worth so much. You see, so the value of the money is decreasing. You see, and this society is also crumbling down concerning the financial system because of the debts that have been created um, in time. And we see that it went from the cattle to the gold to the metal coins, the paper money. Right now, we're using plastic cards together with electronic money. We use our phones to make payments. We use our laptops to make payments. But eventually, the cryptocurrencies are going to be set in place for us to actually make payments. Right now, we're not really using it that much. People are able to use it here and there, of course. But eventually, the system that we're gonna experience upon the earth, you know, going to be one that's going to be revolved around the RFID microchip. You see, and as this article is going into, while the world is focused on Russia and Ukraine, America, is taking a step towards the creation of digital currency. You see, but this is Genesis chapter 13 and verse 1. This is in the time of Abraham and Lot, when they went up out of Egypt. It says Genesis 13 and 1, and Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. So we understand that our forefather Abram was very rich, which the riches that he had made him very strong, powerful, great, mighty. It made him, um, you see, it made him have the things that he had were of great value or worth. It says having an abundance of a characteristics, quality that pleases the senses. He had an abundance of these things, man. He had an abundance of the cattle, the silver, and the gold. Which, if we go back to the evolution of money, those were the first um, things used in order to trade and to be esteemed as having wealth. Because look at it, man. You're not able to eat gold, man. Not able to eat metal coins, paper, plastic cards, electronic money, nor you're able to eat cryptocurrencies. So for you to have food, that made you wealthy, man. Because you were able, if other people didn't have any food, you know, look at the Egyptians. You know what happened when Joseph was there, and Pharaoh received a dream of the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of famine. During those 7 years, the spirit and power of Yahawashi, Joseph moved Pharaoh to store up um, grain for the 7 years of famine. What happened during the time when the famine hit? All the nations round about Egypt went to Egypt to buy corn, to buy the grain, the corn that had been stored up. You see? And what did they pay? They paid with the gold. So having the food, you know, is what made Pharaoh actually very rich. You see? So looking back at it concerning cattle, that goes into the same way, you know. So this is Revelation chapter 13, and let's go to verse 15 first. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And the image of the beast is referring to the way that this society is set up, their morals, their values, their rules, their regulations, the things that they allow, the things they don't allow. So if you don't agree with how this society is set up according to their image of what's being right, what is correct, then you're an enemy of the state basically. So it says, and he did have power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So if you're not down with the ways of the society, man, your life's at risk. You're going to be exterminated because you're going to be a threat to society. You don't want to agree, you know. Verse 16, he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in the forehead. And the he's referring to the EU and the NATO. You know, if you look at the word caused, it's poeo, and the word poeo goes into to make ready, prepare. But what is being spoken about in this video? It's like yeah, in this video as well, but what is being mentioned in this article? It says that Biden just took a huge step toward government-backed digital currency with executive order. So they're preparing America, they're making America ready both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. You see? So everybody upon this earth eventually is going to be tried and tested through the hour of temptation. You know, whether you're going to take it RFID microchip or not. If you don't take it, you're not able to participate in society. You're not able to partake in the ways of this society. You're not able to buy or sell. You're not able to go to the supermarket to buy food. You see? And that's the chip that I want to implement in your hand or your forehead, you know, referring to the Neuralink brain chip. Verse 17, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So you're not able to partake in the ways of the society if you don't have that chip. You see? Revelation chapter 13, verse 18. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, which is the number of a man, and his number is 600, threescore and six. Which that 666, the word stigma goes into a badge of servitude. Which means if you take this RFID market chip, you're pledging your allegiance to Esau, Edom, the circle by man upon the earth. You're denying the Heavenly Father. Because the Heavenly Father has he also has a mark, which is the mark of Yahawah, which is the mark of exemption. It means you're going to be exempt from judgment. But if you take this mark, you're going to receive judgment, pursuant to Revelation 14, starting at verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the image and his beast, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, if you're down with the ways of the society, you know, most likely you're also going to take this chip. And if you take this chip, the following is going to happen. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the Most High, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of the Lamb. You see, you're going to eat a thermonuclear missile. You're going to be set up for destruction. You know, that's the way or the road of them that are accepting this chip. You know, not only that, but the number 666. If you look at the barcode, you know the thin lines where no number is located, there is supposed to be 666 there. You see, so it's quite funny how these people behind the scenes are trying to sneaky implement certain laws and orders to really, you know, further their agenda to try to create a new world order. You see, but through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, whatever these people are doing behind, you know, in darkness is being brought to the light, which is actually quite funny because, you know, first and foremost, there's no way that they're going to establish their new world order. Thus said the Bible. And when they're about to establish that, the Most High is going to bring forth Yahawashi and his, you know, and his army of missiles, man. And then, you know, all these elites, starting off with the banking families, and then all the way, you know, down you know, to the ones that are, also um, the royals, and also the ones that are still being referred to as elites. They're going to be the first ones to go into slavery under the Israelites, so with Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You see, so there's no way that whatever they have planned is going to succeed. You know, but with that, I pray that this lesson was edifying. And I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of great Millstone who teach and rule well, and shalom to the sincere Akim spread his truth and sincerity.